All right, guys, today we're talking about team recognition, what to do, how to do it, and I love to hear your thoughts on this. So, the old adage says, what gets recognized and rewarded gets repeated. So, start thinking about things that you want repeated on your team. Maybe it's more sales, maybe it's more sponsoring, maybe it's people getting paid at title, whatever that looks like. Choose what you want to recognize and reward. The basis of this video is about Happy Mail. So if you don't already send your team things in the mail, it's definitely something that I want you to consider doing. Some of the highest performing, fastest growing teams receive Happy Mail. Their leaders send Happy Mail. And you guys, it doesn't have to be anything crazy big. It can just be a postcard, just something saying like, hey, I saw you. I saw that you had amazing PRV last month, and I want to recognize you did an amazing job. Leaders and teams who also send Happy Mail have also reported seeing a greater retention rate among their team. So we'll talk about budgets a little bit more tomorrow, but I really want you guys to be thinking about your wallet while we're talking about sending Happy Mail, because you got to think about postage. You have to think about things that you're going to be printing out or making or getting through Vistaprint or whatever place you're going to be getting these things from. Those things cost money. So I want you to think about what is the max for you and understand that you do have to put money back in your business. And for me, I do see the biggest return on my investment in the form of Happy Mail. And just keep in mind, it is a tax write-off. Now, the cheapest thing that you can do is a postcard. Those are the cheapest. And if you maybe get some Avery postcards and you can make your own on Canva and print them out, that's gonna be the cheapest way to do it. Something else to consider is finding things that you can mail that are flat. There's a lot of things at the dollar store that are super flat that you can include in an envelope that will only take one stamp. The next thing I really want to focus on is really keep in mind the scalability of your Happy Mail. So a lot of people will say, well, I do the top 10% or I do the top 20%. You have to think about that. Top 10, top 20% of your team right now might not be that much, but think about it whenever your team gets to be 500, 1,000, 10,000. 20% of 10,000, you're not going to want to be doing all of those postcards. So I will always suggest choosing a specific number over a specific percentage. So for example, I normally do the top 10 in PRV, and it doesn't matter how many people sponsored. I am always going to send a recognition card to someone who sponsored. And then also be thinking about things that you can send to just say, hey, I've been thinking about you, or hey, I see you. Could be, hey, you're active this month. Hey, you're at 500 this month. Whatever it is, or even if you're scrolling on Facebook and you see someone's going through a tough time, you can just send them something in the mail to show that you're thinking of them that way. But just be thinking about, how can I send things to my team to show them that I care? So your assignment today is, what do you want repeated? That is what you should be recognizing and rewarding. Something else to think about is, what is something that you've received in the mail that you have loved, that you want to try to do, or maybe even things that you haven't received in the mail that you do want to start doing. Share both of those things, because it's going to be a really great dialogue going back and forth about what you've liked and what you would like to see, because of course that would help me too, what you guys would like to see. You can also identify what you do want to recognize and how you want to recognize. Do you want it to be through mail, or do you just want it to be in your team's space? So some things that I recognize in my team's space is, on that first of the month, I always share who has been active. And I tag the top 10, but then I encourage people to look for their name in that list and shout them out. And then if they have a team, shout out the people that are on their team. So that way that gets a lot of engagement. And it shows people that, hey, like, I'm being recognized because I was active last month. Another thing that I like to do within the group, and this might depend on your group size, but looking at your admin tools and seeing who were top contributors in the previous month. So at the beginning of the month, I always like to pull that report on Facebook and look at last month and like say thank you guys for being top contributors in this group. This group would not be what it is without you participating, so thank you. So the last thing I want to leave you with is I know a lot of you are very, very big on handwritten cards, and yes, there is a time and place for a handwritten card. I always do handwritten cards for someone who is brand new to me, a brand new customer, but anything else, I actually use a service. So I use a service called sendoutcards.com. It might be MLM or network marketing, so it is another company. So if you choose to do this, just go to sendoutcards.com and search for someone local, or maybe you know someone that you can support. But the amount of time it takes for me to send all the cards that I need to send at the beginning of the month, so my top PRV, my sponsors, my paid at title, anyone who is promoting, that normally takes me about like under 10 minutes to send all those postcards. And I don't have to do anything because everybody's address is already in there and the card is already saved. I just have to change the month and I just click, click, click and send, and it is done. So it's a huge time saver for me. And for me, I am willing to, it's almost like a 20 to 30 cent difference between like buying a postcard from Vistaprint and doing the postage and the time it takes. It's about a 20 to 30 cent more per postcard, but I am willing to do that in order to be and stay consistent with sending these things. I cannot wait to hear what you guys come up with, what you love, what you want to see, and what you're going to choose to reward.